Kind of a heavy talk today. I'll give you a word of warning. We'll talk about a topic that seems to be bantered about a lot by a lot of people not considering what they're saying and what it means, and that is the war in Ukraine. Now, I'm not going to really talk about the war in Ukraine, but what I'm going to talk about is if it comes up, if you're reading articles about it, if you're watching pundits talking about what we should do and who we should support, I want you to think about this, okay? If you have anybody you know in your house, friends, young, heck, 12 to, heck, 2 to 30, okay? And I say 2, you think 9/11 happened, 2001, and for probably the next 12 or 13 years, you had people going off to war who that, when it happened, were very, very young. And I promise you, if the war in Ukraine expands, that stuff will be going on a lot longer than Iraq or Afghanistan did. But I want you to think of them. That maybe it's a son or daughter, and maybe it's a friend, okay? This is war. This is what war is. I want you to remember this. So during the Iraq and Afghanistan war, OIF, OEF, I visited Walter Reed. And every time I would go, the Red Cross there was using my book, The Ladder Up, and there was a young Marine they wanted me to meet. And he had had his arm and both legs blown off. And they were trying to save his other arm. And they were doing it with skin grafts from what was left on his body of skin. And it was painful, and it was horrific. And usually when I would be there and they wanted me to see him, he would be so drugged up after the surgery because of the pain, I couldn't meet with him. And finally, after about maybe my third or fourth visit to Walter Reed, it was available and I could go see him. Now, why did they want me to go see him? Why was this so important to him? Young man, someplace, I think it was in the rural South. He goes to serve. He gets blown up. He comes back to Walter Reed. He's going through what's going to be years of surgery and therapy and eventually getting prosthetics. And all that's left on that one arm, and the reason that he's going through all these surgeries to save it, is like 3 fingers, okay? And what looks like bones with like skin on them and a little bit of muscle. And at one point in his recovery, his parents come to see him. So imagine this young man in a hospital bed, okay? And he's been blown up, he's missing his legs, he's probably 21 at the time. And his parents come in, and when they see him, they're horrified. Now, they're horrified. They don't cry, they don't break down, they don't go, "Oh, my son, oh, let me hug you." You know what they do? They start yelling at him, and they start going, "Look at you, we told you not to do that. We're gonna have to take care of you the rest of your life. Look at you." Now, in that moment, even though he's got all kinds of needles in him and stuff, he freaks out. In that moment, he hates them, which I don't blame him. And he lunges forward with his one arm and his stump, starts dragging himself with his 3 fingers across that bed, falls off the bed onto the floor. His parents are yelling at him as he's coming at them. They got to drag him away. They got to sedate the guy. That's war, man. How do most people die in Iraq and Afghanistan? They got blown up. Think of how many people were around them when it happened. Their friends, people as young as they are. A girl in a truck. Special forces guy who's the baddest dude on the planet. The next minute he's hamburger. And I want you to remember, when you're talking about war and what we should do, you look at little Johnny sitting next to you and you ask yourself, is it worth doing that to him? Is it worth doing that to a Russian Johnny? Is it worth doing that to a Ukrainian Johnny? Because I'll guarantee you this. You go to the average Ukrainian house, you go to the average Russian house, you go to the average American house, those Johnnies have got a lot more in common than you would think. They got way more in common than they got apart. And they probably got no reason to hate each other. And probably if the 3 of them were out at a basketball court playing basketball, they'd like each other. Yet, whether it is some president or some dictator or some congressman or senator or somebody on their living room couch who's like old and fat and never going to go fight war is talking about what we should do. They're not thinking about Johnny missing 2 legs and arm and having 3 fingers and staring at the rest of his life. And one thing I have seen over and over the last 25 years, you don't really see that talked about that much. It's just, oh, that's a cost of war. Really? No, it's a cost of politics. It's a cost of opinion. It's a cost of other people telling us what we think we need to do. And if you think what's happening, that it's not worth Johnny losing those legs against another Johnny half the world away, say something about it. Do something about it. And then on the flip side of it is, if you think it is worth it, you make sure we go over there and we just kick butt. No half measures. There's no in-betweens. In-betweens is nothing but prolonging misery. And that's usually what we do, by the way. We just stay in the middle, stay in our lane, let kids get turned into hamburger, let families be destroyed. Okay, there's always more. We'll always find more. There's always someone young that wants to go die and be G.I. Joe. No half measures. Okay, it's either worth turning Johnny into hamburger or it's not. And that sounds pretty dang hardcore, but that is war. Remember that. Because it's going to go on for a while. And there's going to be a lot of people wanting us to send Johnny over there or do things that could lead to that. Just like a podcast I was talking about the other day, it's really easy to point fingers at people in Washington or here or there. Focus on home. Focus on your own community. Focus on your own yard. Well, I would say even for geopolitical things, focus on that young man or woman right next to you. That based on those decisions, their lives are going to be upended and changed. Because if it's not that young man or woman who's getting turned into somebody that's going to need prosthetics for the rest of their life and is going to be in a hospital for years, it's going to be a friend of theirs. It's going to be someone they care about. It's going to be someone they love. So when you think about the war in Ukraine or the war anywhere, I want you to think about Johnny. I want you to think about that young man in that hospital at Walter Reed many years ago, because there's a million stories like that, and he's not alone. Life is what is right in front of you. Pay attention. Pay attention. Think it through. Be heard. Live intentionally. If you're just buried in what the world wants to use to drag you along like a sheep, you're not going to say anything. Oh, you're on to the next story. Oh, on to the next game. It's not real to you. It's a game. It's a toy. He's a prop. Johnny's not a prop. Johnny's a human being with an amazing life. And I want him to have it. And I want you to want him to have it. And we need to speak up when we need to speak up. And we need to support when we need to support. And it's the same reason, as I was saying the other day, you look around your town, and if you see something you don't like, it's on you. It's not on somebody at the Capitol. It's not on somebody in D.C. It's on you. Look in your own house, look in your living room, look at your floors, look at your closet, look in the mirror. It's on you. It's on you. Be empowered. Now here's the good news. You got a lot of power. We've never had an opportunity to make our voices heard, for you to make your voice heard. Don't yell, listen. Be level. And, one piece of advice, and I try to learn this myself because I struggle with it, but when you get amped up in a discussion, you lose the argument. As soon as you come across like you're reacting to what that person's saying, you lose the argument. Not only that, the argument is over. Not only that, you're not going to probably end up being friends. You stay level, okay? You listen. You say what needs said. You put out facts. You don't call people names. You just say, hey, do you realize if we go to war, he might get blown up, turned into a hamburger? You cool with that? You good with that? Is it worth it? Is that worth it to you? Tell me why it's worth it. See, you keep your cool, you stay calm, you stay focused on what's in front of you, you win. And you got peace, and you know you've done the right thing. So I got a little challenge for you today. Where is an area in your life? Who is somebody that when you're able to look at what's going on around us, you can make a reasoned, non-emotional case to them about why you believe what you believe. And then once you've done that, go get a cup of coffee and be friends. Have some fun. Go for a walk. See how easy it is to live that way instead of this constant flame war that we seem to be in that just distracts us from what truly is going on in the world. So, in honor of that young man I met all those years ago, who broke my heart when I learned what had happened to him, may you and everybody you love find a little bit of peace. I'm out.